Now hold on just a second. You might be asking yourself, why does it matter if Fortnite does 3D lobbies or not? This subject is so minuscule compared to other issues happening with the game. And to that I say, you might be right. A 3D lobby isn't going to make or break the game, and there are definitely more important aspects about the game that could rather be discussed. But if there was a way for 3D backgrounds to make the game feel better, smoother, interactable even, and fix other problems with the game simultaneously, would you then be asking the same question? Maybe not, or maybe you're still not convinced. In today's video, I want to talk about the rise and fall of 3D lobby backgrounds in Fortnite, as well as providing a way for Epic to integrate them once again, fixing a lot of problems with the game altogether. As the wise words of Pharrell Williams once said, it might seem crazy what I'm about to say, but without further ado, let's get straight into it. The 3D lobby backgrounds, which I will now refer to for the rest of the video as 3D lobbies, were first introduced in Chapter 1, Season 1 during the Halloween update. When loading up the game and clicking Battle Royale during this time, a graveyard background would load in with moving fog, wavy flames from candles, swaying trees, and glowing pumpkins, all combined to create a Halloween atmosphere for the player. The background would feel immersive, as if you could step right into a small world. Everything from the ground to the trees and even up to the buildings in the back felt connected and touchable, as if your character could harvest some materials right then and there. Moving on to Season 2, during the Christmas update, the lobby was changed to a cozy winter theme. Snow would be falling across the screen, an ice block with the husk contained within would bob up and down on water, tree ornaments would sway from the breezing snow, and a little cabin in the back would billow upwards with smoke. However, moving onwards into Season 3, Epic would remove the 3D background for something a bit more simplistic and less detailed, giving the impression that the 3D backgrounds are only meant for special events or holiday seasons. But, as it turned out, in Season 4, Epic would once again bring back 3D lobbies, this time in the form of a crash site of a meteor, which was on theme with the season at the time. In Season 5, they did it again, as the lobby changed to a desert landscape with a little gas station. At this point, players expected a brand new 3D lobby every season, and moving forward for Seasons 6, 7, 8, and 9, that continued to be the case, as 3D lobbies continued to reign and match the current season they were in. It seemed like Fortnite was always going to create a 3D lobby for each brand new season. I mean, surely they would, since they've been making them for a few years now and cemented themselves as being part of the certain charm that was Fortnite at the time, right? Keyword was. During Season 9, the UI got a major overhaul, and with that overhaul came some new changes to the way things looked in the lobby. Considering that every previous season had no issue with retaining the 3D background for large updates like this, you would think that for this update it would be no different. However, that wasn't the case. With this specific overhaul, the 3D lobby for Season 9 was removed and instead changed to a plain blue backdrop. Well, surely Epic will bring it back. Must be a glitch or something. Maybe next season we'll get a completely different one. But no. Season 9 would be the last season we would ever see a 3D lobby ever again. Weirdly enough, future seasons would try to replicate a 3D background for the lobby, but each attempt looked like a poster slapped on a wall to mimic its predecessor. Certain backgrounds would clearly have trees frozen in place, candles static, and overall just no objects moving whatsoever. What's even weirder is that some seasons try to take 3D models of random things related to the season and prop them on the ground, trying to sell the illusion that the background is immersive and real. Now, I will admit that some lobby backgrounds they've used, especially recently, have looked pretty convincing and well done. The best example that I can give is the Chapter 4 Season 1 lobby, specifically during Winterfest. In a lot of these flat backgrounds, the ground isn't properly blended with the landscape behind it, so it clearly looks split and like a slapped on poster. But in this one in particular, they managed to line everything perfectly, so much so that the ground looks like ice to a winter landscape. The addition of the falling leaves are nice, although snow would have made more sense. But even for the default Chapter 4 Season 1 lobby background, the vibrancy of it matched with the falling leaves is made for a beautiful composition, and even if the floor clearly doesn't belong. And now we make it to the present, where still 3D lobby backgrounds have seemingly disappeared forever. But why? Epic still makes attempts to make backgrounds feel live and ambient by adding small particle effects within. Ultimately, these small incorporations just don't feel the same. Why did they stop doing them? Why can't we just go back? Well, after doing some research and a bit of scrolling through Reddit, there are two reasons as to why Epic stopped making 3D lobbies. The first is that the guy who made them back then left Epic Games a long time ago, which is why this started happening all the way back in Season 9. The second, and the most widely agreed upon answer, is that they caused rendering and performance issues. Because the 3D backgrounds were so complex and took a lot of resources into making them, issues could happen from the player's side of things. And Epic didn't want to go through with the trouble of managing that, which is why they haven't found anyone else to do it, and possibly why we haven't gotten them since. Okay, so I guess they're gone, out, donezo, you're probably thinking, and that this is the end of the video, right? Yeah, we lost something cool, but it's way easier for my game to load in now and play now, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you to Exhibit B 3D Battle Passes. In Chapter 2, Season 2, Fortnite brought us a brand new 3D Battle Pass menu with rooms for each character in the pass. This was something unheard of at the time. No one would have thought about this back in Chapter 1. It was such a creative take on a UI we've had for years. In Chapter 2, Season 3 and 4, this was brought back again, albeit this time without the rooms for the skins, but it was still much appreciated. Even though 3D lobbies were gone and not forgotten, everyone rejoiced when Epic started pumping these out every season onwards, as it started to bring that little charm that Fortnite had and a little bit of life into the menu tabs. But then it stopped. You want to know why they stopped doing these? It's cause people bash them for being so difficult to use. Ugh. And could you guess what happened afterwards? That's right, Epic stopped doing 3D Battle Pass menus moving forward. As sad as it was to see them go, Epic probably didn't care that much, as it most likely took a lot of time and effort to make to just sell the same stuff. Either way though, I want to finally start getting into how Epic could finally bring back 3D lobbies with everything mentioned so far. As we know, the reason why Epic shies away from bringing this beloved feature back is mainly because it takes too much time to give something so little in their eyes. But what if there was a way for this to return in a way that could solve other problems happening in the game currently? You see, a lot of people can agree that the current way the discovery/select game mode tab is handled just feels very wrong and messy. Many creative maps clutter a majority of the feed, favorites are all the way at the bottom, and even the main epic modes don't fully display until you hit the arrow key. I can make an entire video talking about this system and give my attempt to fix it, but for now, let's focus on trying to bring back 3D lobbies. In Chapter 4, Season 4, we got a grand overhaul as to how the Discovery tab worked. Previously, you used to be able to click a button, bringing up all the game modes, and at one point, I believe there was even a separate tab for that. With the new update for at that time, Epic made it so that all you had to do was scroll down and tabs were already preloaded to choose from, similarly to the layout that Netflix has. Now, since this update, many people have had their fair share of criticism, including mine. Not only did it come with the problems I previously mentioned about the layout itself, but people clamored saying that Fortnite isn't a movie subscription service to be redesigning the Discovery tab like this. On top of that, the way it just ever so slightly sticks out when loading into a game does not make things clean whatsoever. This in of itself creates a few problems for the optimization of the game just from the lobby alone. The fact that the Discovery tab preloads a bunch of maps to choose from when just loading into the game already most likely hinders the performance at the player's expense. Previously, modes used to be limited and you would have to click a button to access them, going so far as to have creative contain all creative maps in its own island, having to selectively load what the player chose. But with this new layout, so the player doesn't get that choice. Another thing is that the Discovery tab can be accidentally accessed, more often than not, since all it takes is a bit of stick drift to endlessly scroll through the pit of maps that sits below. So here's how I would handle it. Make it an option to confirm if the player would like to access the library of modes/creative maps to choose from. It doesn't have to be anything tedious like an "Are you sure?" button. All it would have to be is a select game mode button of sorts to give Fortnite the extra step of loading that section in for you. This would put less stress on the lobby, allowing you to reintroduce 3D backgrounds again. But wouldn't we be back to square one? Epic not wanting to do them still because they take too much time and resources. That would hinder performance still, and their best guy on the job had left a while ago. Well, let's look back at the 3D Battle Pass menus. I'm sure those must have taken the same amount of resources and hands, if not more, to work on than any 3D lobby made in the past. I do believe that it's doable, but there has to be a reason as to why Epic prioritized making those instead of 3D lobbies again. I think it's simple, really. Epic prioritized making 3D Battle Pass menus and rooms as opposed to 3D lobbies again, because the difference being this time is that they were trying to sell you something. I believe that they wanted to increase sales on the Battle Pass starting from Chapter 2 Season 2, and to do that, they had to think outside of the box and go hog wild on creativity. 3D lobbies don't sell you much of anything, and so it was kind of a loss for them to continue keeping up with it. Ultimately, they stopped doing 3D Battle Pass menus as well because they knew that those Battle Passes were going to sell regardless. But to that, I say, what if there was a way it can sell you something? For this section, we'd have to take a look at a particular game that has been taking the world by storm recently: Marvel Rivals. If you take a look at Marvel Rivals, their backgrounds are night and day different from Fortnite, having so much life, character, and animation put into it. Now, I believe that the reason the devs are able to accomplish this better than Fortnite's plain backgrounds as of recently is because Marvel Rivals uses a lot of 2D animation made to look almost 3D. All their drawn characters and background pieces are like assets with moving parts, cleverly overlaid on top of one another to create a lively and immersive experience. But in terms of how this relates to marketing, notice how almost every character in Marvel Rivals' background incorporates them wearing new and upcoming skins. This is brilliantly trying to sell you on the idea of purchasing the Battle Pass to obtain some of these outfits, saying, look at me, look how good we look, I bet you want some of these. Maybe you should buy that Battle Pass to unlock some of us, and also tune in later this season to purchase some of these guys over here as they clink their glasses together while the colorful fireworks light up in the background. It's great advertising and happens as soon as you load up your game, so it's the first thing that many players see. And so to take an idea from your best friend Marvel, Epic, it wouldn't be amiss to include some of the Battle Pass characters from a season and incorporate them into the lobby, still pushing out the sales of Battle Passes like you originally wanted back then, or even at this point any pass for that matter. Players constantly loading into the game and dazzling amazing cosmetics are shown, which they could unlock just by signing up to Fortnite Crew. There could even be a tab up there that says join Fortnite Crew and it immediately takes you to purchase it, or you can even maybe tap on one of the skins there and they'll do some small animation that will guide you to the payment section. And now let's say that it may be hard and too much to render all of that in a 3D background for the lobby in the great 2025. You can also take a play from Marvel Rivals' book and style the background to be 2D animation, giving a much better impression of 3D than what you guys are doing now with the flat backgrounds. With the repositioning of where and how you access the Discovery/Game Mode Selection tab, you'd have a lot more space to work with, physically and digitally. With the revival of 3D lobbies in Fortnite, massive player spikes would occur as a lot of people, including myself, miss them dearly, and in turn it would be giving us back that bit of the certain charm that the game once had back in the day. There are a lot of benefits that can come from bringing 3D lobby backgrounds back, and I do believe that if Epic is willing to put in a little bit of time and effort into them again, they could revolutionize not only the game itself and its sales, but how people would view the game again, players and outsiders, in awe with the first thing they'll see when Fortnite is loaded up. could you imagine with each purchase of a different pass included with Fortnite Crew, you could obtain a 3D lobby background, and now you'd be able to fully customize it from your locker. This has been something that players have been asking for such a long time now. And yeah, if it's not too much to ask for, we could even bring back separate rooms that the Battle Pass characters once had. And so with that, I now conclude this video. This has been the rise and fall of 3D lobby backgrounds in Fortnite, but also how they could possibly return one day again. I really want to know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Personally, I think that even though there are direct fixes and things that require more attention in the land of Fortnite, I find it fun to talk about one of the more subtle additions to the game, as ultimately I do believe that the little things truly matter. So hopefully I was able to convince you, little Timmy. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave it a like and subscribe, and use code TrulyMystic in the item shop if you want to support me there. As always, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a wonderful day or night, and until then, peace.